History remembers kings, warriors, and inventors, but some of the most unbelievable people who ever lived were quietly erased, hidden, or forgotten. Individuals whose bodies, minds, and abilities were so unusual that even historians struggled to explain them. Some were medical mysteries, some were biological impossibilities, and some were simply too strange for the world to understand. Tonight, we uncover 7 real people you were never meant to know about. Forgotten cases buried in old archives, medical journals, and strange historical documents. Stay until the end, because the 7th story is something even scientists fear discussing. Number 1, the man with the mirror face. A man staring into a mirror, yet his face remains completely still. Imagine living your entire life unable to show a single emotion. No smile when you're happy. No frown when you're sad. Not even a tear rolling down your cheek. In the early 1800s, medical records from rural France documented a man born with complete bilateral facial paralysis, a condition so rare that modern medicine has fewer than a dozen recorded cases in all of history. His facial muscles simply didn't work. He could feel everything: joy, rage, heartbreak, but his face remained frozen, a mask of flesh that never changed. Villagers whispered that he had no soul, that something vital was missing inside him. Children ran when he approached, terrified by the stillness in his expression. Doctors of the time recommended he be hidden from public view to avoid mass hysteria and fear. He lived for decades in isolation, communicating only through written notes and subtle hand gestures. A lifetime of silence, trapped inside a face that never moved. Number 2, the woman who never slept. A lantern glowing beside a woman awake long past midnight. Sleep is one of the most fundamental needs of human existence. Without it, the mind fractures. The body collapses. But in the 1940s, Hungarian medical observers documented a woman who claimed she had not truly slept in over 30 years. Doctors watched her for weeks. She would rest. She would close her eyes. But her brain activity never entered deep sleep. She remained in a state of perpetual wakefulness. Her memory was sharp. Her body remained strong. She showed no signs of exhaustion. The church believed she was touched by spirits, that something supernatural kept her suspended between waking and sleeping. She described her life as endless. No darkness. No escape from consciousness. Just existing hour after hour, night after night. Medical journals could not explain her. Psychology could not diagnose her. She simply never slept. For her, the world never turned dark and never rested. In 1890s England, a boy was born with bones so brittle they shattered under the slightest pressure. A sneeze could crack a rib. A handshake could fracture fingers. Even lying down too quickly risked breaking his spine. By the age of 12, doctors estimated he had survived over 300 fractures. Villagers avoided him, not out of cruelty but out of fear. Fear that a gentle touch might destroy him. His mother patted every surface in their home. He learned to move in slow motion, calculating every breath, every shift of weight. Modern medicine now knows this as osteogenesis imperfecta, but in his time, it was unexplainable. Doctors predicted he wouldn't survive childhood, but he lived into his 40s. A child the world feared to touch, yet he never feared the world. Number 4, the whispering giant. A towering man speaking softly while crowds strained to hear. Height and power usually go hand in hand, but in the 1920s, American medical journals documented a man who stood over 8 feet tall, yet spoke in the faintest whisper. His lungs were oversized. His chest was massive, but his vocal cords were so tight and underdeveloped that even at full volume, his voice was barely audible. People traveled hundreds of miles just to witness the paradox. A giant who could not roar. He communicated mostly through gestures and written words. Crowds would gather in silence just to hear him try to speak. Doctors described him as a soft giant, a biological contradiction that defied logic. His condition was never fully understood. His body was loud. His voice barely existed. Number 5, the girl with moonlight shining into eyes that shimmer unnaturally. In the late 1700s, a young girl in rural Scotland became known for something impossible. Her eyes reflected light. In darkness, her pupils glowed faintly, like distant stars. Villagers claimed she could see better at night than in daylight. Some said she saw things others couldn't. Shadows moving where nothing stood. Figures walking through empty fields. Priests believed she could see spirits. Doctors were fascinated but terrified. Then suddenly, all records of her disappeared. No death certificate, no family records, just gone. Her eyes illuminated darkness, until history erased her completely. Number 6, the human echo, a man speaking. But his echo comes seconds later. Imagine speaking and hearing your own voice return to you seconds later. In the 1930s, a man in Germany developed a rare neurological disorder that caused a speech delay. His words left his mouth, but his brain heard them several seconds later. Conversations became supernatural, unsettling. He would finish speaking, pause, and then flinch, as his own voice echoed back inside his mind. Doctors couldn't explain it. They called it a temporal auditory misfire. They banned him from speaking in public to avoid mass panic. He lived in isolation for decades, haunted by the sound of his own delayed voice. His own voice haunted him long after he stopped speaking. Number 7, the unnamed skeleton in the basement of a forgotten European medical museum. Researchers discovered something that should not exist. A skeleton, but not human. The bone structure didn't match Homo sapiens. The skull was elongated, the rib cage asymmetrical, the joints placed at impossible angles. Handwritten notes from 1780 claimed it belonged to a living patient. Not a fossil, not an ancient specimen. A living patient. The file described someone who walked, spoke, and breathed, but whose body defied every known law of human anatomy. Shortly after its discovery, the specimen was sealed, then removed, then erased from all public records. The last line in the archive read, "This specimen should not exist." Ending line. The last line in the archive. This specimen should not exist. These 7 individuals weren't monsters, myths, or legends. They were real humans living in bodies the world could not understand. Their stories show how easily history can hide what it cannot explain. If strange human mysteries fascinate you, like the video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more forgotten stories the world tried to bury, because the past is full of secrets, and some of them were never meant to be found. Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses